evening all. Welcome back to Dragon Warriors. We missed last session. We've got a new player, so hopefully that'll help us keep going a bit better. Various people are off doing other things, but you know, we've just been ignoring that throughout this series of games and just making do with whoever's here. Cam is our new player. He's playing Dalewyn ap Cern, who is an archer from Albion, specifically Cornumbria. Starting out at a lowly level 1, but compared to everyone else, but that's fine. They should level pretty quick and catch up a bit. And archers find it easier in this game system than a lot of people to cope with level differences, because it's easier to plink someone with a bow than to bash them with a sword. So, there is an underlying hook to all of these adventures, which we haven't talked about in a while, so I don't know who's watching. We've got a new player, so we'll go over that. Right back at the beginning, all of the players were assumed to have done one of the introductory adventures in Dragon Warriors, which is one that I've run too many times, so I didn't actually bother running it, in which they meet the equivalent of King Arthur from this setting, though he's asleep, lying in rest and wait for when he's needed, surrounded by magical swords, and each person who takes one, it turns into their most favoured weapon, and so long as they do good deeds, it will guide them to trouble in the world, help them to defeat it, and make them a force for goodness and chivalry and right and law and order and all that stuff, within the usual bounds of player misbehaviour. So that is what brings all of these characters together. Even Dalewyn, who's been off doing her own thing for some time, but will have known the characters way back in their own background. So the swords essentially pull everyone back together. At the moment, the main party is camped out in Ferramain, which is a sort of Venice equivalent on the coast of the Europe equivalent. So that is where everyone is. Caesora's off doing something. Sir Elaine is off dealing with problems back on the castle and estates over on Albion, which leaves the rest of you to your own devices, toiling away over potions, practicing your archery, praying in your own little chapel in this grand house that you bought with your adventuring gold in Ferramain. When the steward comes to find Brother Abbas, interrupting your prayers. Sir?
Yes, what is it?
There is a messenger come from the port.
Send him in, please.
Inside, sir.
Well, get him to the courtyard and I'll meet him there.
Very well, sir. And the steward hobbles off.
Question: is the steward, is he a wounded knight or someone that served with us?
He's very old. He was working for Milano and you poached him.
Okay.
Milano being a somewhat disreputable merchant who these guys are heavily entangled with because he seems to always find adventures. And knows a lot of dodgy people who almost inevitably turn out to double-cross our friends here.
Can we assume that Dalewyn has, I guess, been introduced with a letter of introduction? Perhaps Sir Elaine sent.
You will have met her a couple of years ago now in the delve that led you to the Arthurian underworld. But yeah, for some reason, the power of the swords has brought her here.
Okay, so we feasted. We know each other socially. We've made acquaintances. So
yep.
we gloss over that. That's fantastic. So many games, well, why are we together? And just get right into it and have fun.
A wizard did it.
You meet in an inn, bazaar.
Yes. Tell you, if I took quests from drunk old men in pubs, my life would be very different. Right.
Anywho.
Yeah.
So I'll make my way down to the courtyard.
Okay. The bright summer sun is baking the courtyard. The servants are unable to keep the plants fully healthy, and many of them are looking quite droopy. There's a heat haze off the flagstones, and a rather sweaty, grubby-looking child, barefoot, in rags, is waiting in the courtyard, holding a scroll case.
I believe you have a message for me, child.
Si, signore. Here.
I'll give him a coin for his trouble.
What kind of coin?
I'll be pseudo generous.
So a silver coin?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a king's ransom to a wee sprog. All right. His eyes go wide at the sight of the silver coin, then goes
I was going to do
suspicious.
that little trick, where you try and like whip it from behind his ear and make it look like you just appeared at an office.
Okay, make a reflexes roll.
Okay. Do I need under my reflexes, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Going to be very
roll.
cautious about priests reaching out, touching.
Rolled a 2, so made it.
Okay, so you managed to do a passable version of the finding the coin behind his ear. And his eyes go wide and then narrow again, looks suspicious as he takes the coin and he bites it and holds it up to the light and taps it against the stone. Then bows and the steward ushers him out before he can see any of the family silver.
I'll go back inside and gather my compatriots and crack open the scroll case.
Okay. Yeah, it's sealed, not with wax, but with some horrible yellowy rubbery substance, which you can peel away. It stretches. It's very, very odd. Alright, inside is a letter using the sort of common lettering of Albion, but mixed in with a bunch of other stuff, and sort of spelling out phonetically in the Mungodan trade language. It's a bit hard to make sense of. Do any of you speak the Mungodan trade language? I think Madrock
I don't believe so.
My character's illiterate, so...
Yeah. Mungodan trade argot. Yes, Madrock does.
Good, because no speak Odago.
Well, no, you've all picked up a bit of fantasy Dago, living in Pheromane this long, but not the trade language.
I'm not going to be asking about bibliotext then. It's my German.
A frog in Who's B-Day?
The French I know is from Mediazard.
I've only got basic in it, so
Yeah,
I'll probably get the gist of the message.
Yeah, you can get the gist. The village
My
headman.
stuff is talking.
Yeah. The village headman, Panu from Imbi, the little trade town, has apparently written to you as best he can. You think the gist of it is that they're having trouble with another tribe, and they would like your help. And then there's some vague mention of, well, he's either promising you 100 goats or a lot of treasure. You're not 100% sure.
What's the going exchange rate on goats?
He's changing chickens. They don't halfway his pocket.
Think of all the wool and the mutton chop we could have. Lamb shank.
You could use the goats to fill your coffers for many generations to come.
And to fertilize
Fill
field after
something.
field and make cheese.
You could starve them and then unleash them on your enemies to eat all their equipment.
Leaving aside the
Field.
logistics of how long it took this message to get here and what's probably going to arrive to ruins.
I think we'll need to charter
We did
a
have a
ship.
good working relationship,
Yeah, you
and I think Milano did the trade deal with them. So We're sort of looking after our own, really.
Yeah, looking after your investment. Well, your investment specifically.
Can we have the seneschal of the household send for someone who speaks Mongolian?
You want to hire a guide?
A guide or translator or a Pheromani linguistics expert, just someone who can come and do a house consult. Perhaps our seneschal can arrange for that, maybe for after the evening meal while we're enjoying a bit of wine or something.
Yep, that can be arranged.
I'll probably know someone like that because I spend most of my time trying to learn bits of languages.
Mm.
I don't just hang around the time of it.
You're cutting out and roboting a bit. Is your connection bad or?
That's solid.
Maybe it's mine.
It's doing the same to me too. So
maybe it'll settle down. Okay. Technical problems.
I'll say my technical problems. And Medra probably knows linguistic because he spends his hobby is learning languages. He spends most of his time going places just to talk with people.
If you blank your camera, it might help.
Because
then it'll just be the sound.
Okey-doke.
Yeah, that seems better.
Is that any better?
That's a lot better.
way back.
All right.
Okay. Well, one way or another, yeah, you have people who you can consult on the language issue. So by the time of the evening meal, with all the windows and doors thrown open to let a breeze through the house and get out the stank of the summer, the linguist goes over it and says, well, I believe what is being said here is that the town is being preyed upon. Its fishermen and its hunters and its gatherers in the surrounding jungle are being picked off by some new tribe impinging on their territory, and it's asking you for help and assistance.
Did they bait it?
Not in any way that I can make sense of.
The Jaguar or something.
But Milano's trips have been taking perhaps 4 weeks or less, as his captains have learned the route. So some time has passed, and more by the time we get there.
Okay. Is Milano in town?
Yeah, he's taken to staying in town for the most part and letting everyone else do the work while he just rakes in the cash. So.
Yeah. Well, I messaged him saying our investments are potentially at risk here. He'll probably lend us a ship. Or at least we could get to ride on the next one that's going there.
Well, he can put you on the next vessel and rush it ahead a bit. So you can leave with the morning tide.
Okay.
Are there any last-minute preparations anyone wishes to make?
Can we hire an elementally to speed this up a bit? Or is that a bit dodgy?
That'd be a bit dodgy.
Can we arrange, as we did last time, to excuse me, to have pardon me, a quote unquote, well, not just a rescue party on standby with a ship, for example? If they don't hear from us in, let's say, 12 weeks, they are to send a query to our destination, and then in additional, if 12 weeks after that no response is received, they've got to come and try and get us.
Yeah, Milano can make those arrangements for you.
Okay, ideal. Yeah, aside from just moving a little bit of equipment around, I think we should be good to go.
Saw your message about that. So.
And I'm curious. I know literacy is not common for most characters in the game. Would Dale and would Cam would your character be wanting to learn how to read? Would that be useful, or would that be kind of detrimental for an archer? The strain on their eyes, candlelight, this and that. Is there some kind of maybe professional
Dalen is
taboo against it?
Dalen's sort of figuring her life out at the moment.
Okay.
So she's just following these swords that she found through life. And so other than that, she's not very motivated to do much else.
Okay.
Except for to continually practice for a battle that is to come in her mind.
Okay, so with the equipment moved around, so Delwyn's been given a couple of healing potions. You've replenished your rations and gear and so on that you normally have. Are you all good to go?
Is there any chance of picking up slightly enchanted or mastercrafted leather armor? I have money. I mean, really, ideally, stuff that just looks like clothes. Absolutely
Yeah.
fair.
Off the peg stuff is going to be hard to get that quickly. You could commission a set to be ready when you get back.
Ooh.
So what you can do is you can make you some soft leather breeches and a tunic, and then you can line the inside of the tunic with light, loose ring mail, and hide some armoured padding, and maybe some metal thread or something on the liner of the breeches. So it'll be as effective as normal leather armour, but it'll look like standard clothing.
I'll get some of that as well, then.
Okay. And you may well find some magic armour at some point. You never know.
I'm only a part-timer, really, so I don't.
I'm curious. Are there craftsmen in Fairmain who can enchant weapons and gear for us?
It's incredibly rare. So, yeah, you can pick up a few You can probably pick up a few basic potions, but otherwise, yeah, magic stuff is as rare as rocking horse shit. So.
Okay, I just put that together. All right. So most of the artifacts that we've been finding and so on, they are immensely valuable carryovers from a lost age of wonder and whatnot. Then,
yeah.
Yes.
Unless you're incredibly wealthy, royalty, a big member of the church, or an adventurer, you're not really going to have magical gear most of the time. You're in a sort of rarefied stratum of society.
Or if you're a sorcerer that makes your own, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that comes at higher ranks?
I think Brother Abbas can make magical weapons. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Armor, I'm not sure. I think warlocks can make magical armor. Sorcerers tend to make trinkets like amulets, rings, staves, that sort of thing.
Warlocks get one very specialised suit. Sticks can make weapons and armor. So it takes a hell of a long time. Sorcerers do rings, potions, potentially artifacts.
Yeah.
How many ranks are there in the game? Does it go to 9 or 10 typically, or higher?
It goes on forever, but 10 is like the typical sort of cap out. 12 technically, I suppose. That's kind of epic level.
Okay.
Yeah, so currently at 6th rank I can make +2 items.
Okay. So, with the morning tide, you take your packs and your gear onto Milano's vessel. It's only about half loaded with cargo, and the rest of the hold has been stuffed with cheap mercenaries and guardsmen.
Are we taking an army with us? Is that what's happening?
Well, Milano seems to have thought that was a good idea, clearly to sort of protect his investment over there against whatever ravaging tribe this is. Though you get the impression they're only being paid to protect the town, not to go investigating.
Fair enough.
Won't loop around behind us.
What do we know about nobles or the ruling caste in the society we're heading to? It's tribal elders. Are they predominantly male or female, or is there a mix?
You don't know much at all about Mongoda. It's the fantasy sort of melange of Africa and South America. But you've only really visited one place on the coast, which has a trading town and settlement set up on it. So you don't really know much of anything beyond that.
What then might some barroom talk be about what's prized there? For example, what I'm angling for is the same way we took kind of horses and some wine with us when we went to I forget the name of the place, the pseudo-Egypt area, the Near Eastern area.
Right.
Are there any particular delicacies from our lands, from Faramane or Ellisland or so on, that we've heard are particularly valued or appreciated there? And if not, if there are expats from our own communities, we should bring along some flavors of home, for example.
Yeah, you could take along a few luxuries, dried meats, that sort of thing. The natives prize glass, metal, particularly weapons. So, yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay, I'll prep a couple of notes in a moment, and if it's okay, we can assume that if we take a day or two before we leave, maybe you can... All right, thank you. I'll work on some notes.
Okay. So it takes you a couple of weeks to reach the trade town on the coast of Mongoda. I keep forgetting what it's called. Imbi, that's what it was. So it takes you a couple of weeks of sailing to get there. You only see one other vessel or encounter anything else while you're on your way there, and that's just another Faramane merchant vessel on a slightly different course. Maybe they're setting up a new outpost or something elsewhere on the Mongodan coast. But otherwise,
take a note of the ship name.
Okay. Damn you.
You don't have to come up with one. It's just something to report back to Milano with.
Yes, I do, because I'm
right.
funny like that. It's called the False Church.
I like them.
Okay, but yeah, you can make a note of the ship name. Anyway, it's been a while since you've been to Mongoda, and it's almost like seeing it all over again once the coastline comes into view. It's rich almost immediately back from the beaches and the shore. It turns into thick, dense jungle growth, and the further into the distance it gets, the taller the trees get. Brightly coloured birds mingle with the seagulls as you come around the headland and in towards Imbi. Imbi's a weird mix. It's got a sort of palisade thrown up around a single pier, which reaches further out into the ocean than you remember. And that seems to be quite well defended. Beyond that, there's some scattered farmland and a lot of huts on stilts, as well as a much larger number of the kinds of buildings that you're more used to, sort of built in a style that you recognise. Crude fences and sharpened wooden stakes have been thrown up around the outside of the village, facing the border of the jungle all around it.
It was quite an open community type feel before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fairly chill and welcoming.
So are we like leaving the ship now?
Yeah, you'll be going off the ship and onto the pier.
Yeah, so maybe we see Delwyn looking very green around the edges. She doesn't like being on boats. She probably spent the last 4 weeks probably throwing up every single day. But she's glad to be on firm ground once again.
I would have been
sick.
I would have been almost working as a member of the crew. I definitely need. We're spending a lot of time on ships. I need to improve that.
Yeah, so practicing and learning as best you can, and the ship's crew are all incredibly happy to have an extra set of hands, or however many sets of hands. And they seem to regard you guys as good luck totems as well. They were a bit wary of you before, particularly having women on board. It's not seemly. But given that you've survived everything the world has thrown at you and Milano's crazy ventures several times, they seem to think you're good luck now and are happy to have you aboard. But yes, you put ashore onto the pier, make your way down towards the village, with the mob of mercenaries following behind you, unloading their gear.
Oh, pass around some insect repellent.
I'm so glad to be off that bloody ship. I haven't been able to keep a dinner down. Maybe we should get some food before we start to investigate.
Don't go overboard on the fruit because you'll have the same problem from the other end.
Throwing down instead of throwing up.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a welcome change, I assure you.
Not for everyone else.
Let's go.
The village is much more subdued. People kind of shy away or hide in their huts a lot more. I've got a feeling I may have got the name of the town and the person mixed up, but what the hell, let's commit to it. Pano appears from his hut, having heard that you've arrived, and he seems to be the only one really pleased to see you, and comes marching up after gabbling orders at some of the other townsfolk. Welcome. So, happy to see you.
We hear you're having a spot of trouble.
Yes. But that can wait. First, I must welcome you properly. We will kill a pig and roast it in your honour.
Sounds great.
Come, let us discuss pleasant things in my hut first.
Luau.
Tell me of your home and its many large huts.
I would like to unwrap a carefully prepared few slices of beef jerky, kind of in a like a gift wrap, like undo a nice leather cord and make a big show of unfolding it and so on. And if I don't know if there are any taboos against interacting with women who aren't part of your tribe or wives or anything like that, but if it doesn't broach etiquette, I'll offer that to him as we walk along. Try this before the pig.
It's a little dry.
It goes well with happy drinks.
Ah. Right. So he leads you to his hut. It's a bit cleaner and fresher and nicer than you remember. He's adopted a few more affectations. There's a quite fine rug that he's clearly traded for, laid out on the ground, and he has metal utensils for eating with, though the bowls and plates and everything are still wooden. So yeah, he just makes pleasant conversation, avoiding the subject for as long as possible, until you've all feasted on pork and mashed roots and fruit. And the sloths and the wombats and the...
Is he clearly reluctant, or is he traumatized by what he wants to talk about, or is he just being polite?
Well, Madrock's good at reading people. He thinks this is just sort of the tradition here. You precede bad news with small talk and presents, and soften the blow. But eventually, once you're all well stuffed, there is no celebration this time in the town at your arrival. It's still fairly muted. But as the lanterns are lit, he sort of leans forward over the little brazier in his hut and starts his tale of woe. Some moons back, we began to lose some of our harvesters and hunters. Sometimes they're taken by a jaguar or a bear or they just disappear. This is something that happens normally, but it began to happen more than it normally does. We prevailed upon Milano for help, and his guards, the people who take care of the stockade, sent their own patrol out into the woods, men of iron, and they didn't return. Eventually, we went out in force, and we saw who had been preying upon us, but they melted away into the jungle like nothing. Deep to the south, long ago, we used to trade and talk with a people called the Tokel. These people dress like them, but they are different, not respectful. We think they have been attacking our people, killing them, taking them, and this is happening more and more. We're seeing signs of them more and more. They are placing totems to claim parts of our territory. We did send scouts, and only one returned, and he said he saw the Tokel settling near another of those strange pyramids, like the one that you dealt with before when you were here. They were clearing the land and digging it out. If it's anything like the other one, there will be some dark god or wickedness within, which must be twisting them.
How many men of iron were lost? And when you say you went out in force, what does that mean?
All the men of the village, with all their spears and clubs, and as many men as the stockade could spare.
So that would be dozens of men, yes? 50, 60 men?
Yes.
Are there any signs of witchcraft or magic?
The Tokel, they worship their gods in the old way. They spill blood for them. But these Tokel prey on us rather than killing their own people.
The totems they leave, are they to claim land, to show a sign you're trespassing on land they claim now, or are they religious in nature? Can you describe them a little better?
They are bright. They have bright coloured stones and feathers upon them. They use them to mark their border. So they are taking from us. And we're not strong enough to stop them.
Grim, could you tell me this NPC's name one more time? I've forgotten it.
Panu.
Panu, okay. Panu, among the aged and wise, the grandfathers and grandmothers of your people, who among them might know some of the stories and chants and sing-song spells of the old ways?
We have a shaman still, despite your priests, but he is a little odd.
Does he have any particular appetites that we could stimulate to entice to
That does not sound
his
good.
favor? Sorry. Is there a way we could have a polite and respectful introduction made between we and he?
Take a plate of food to him and he will bend your ear on everything.
What direction are these?
The Tokel, they are to the south.
That ship that we saw, the Old Church, would that have been going from the south or the north?
You think it was heading north, but that doesn't necessarily mean that much, because it could have been going around the headland of Mongoda to come around and down the other side. So
I don't want to make excuses for that, but there could be some more strongly opinionated Westerners, if you will. Maybe driven them out of their homeland or something like that. Just muddy the waters further.
it's possible. But whatever the case, they are killing my people.
Oh, yeah.
But as I was saying, if you take a plate of food to Maru, our shaman, then he may be able to tell you more. Well, he will be able to tell you more. Of its utility, I cannot speak.
I think that might be worth us doing. Perhaps we can bring him. I mentioned I'd like to bring some honey along, and some honey and beef jerky, and maybe a glass vial or two that he might enjoy, since glass is treasured here. And will he be willing to speak with myself, for example, or would he prefer to speak to an elder male, or are there any taboos like that?
Do you have a shaman amongst your party?
I am our party shaman.
Oh, right.
I'm a shaman. Wait, that doesn't sound good.
You're a shaman.
Well, we also have a priest. I'm not sure which one's closest to the mark.
Perhaps our priest might be better off doing that then. Mind you, there may be hostility because the priests here have been causing all kinds of business, right?
Yeah. Whereas you're an unholy abomination.
He might be one too. But I'll go with whatever. I mean, I figure it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. We'll have to pick someone. You guys, who should maybe approach this older fellow? Maybe we should both go in. I'll act as kind of an assistant or as a second to Brother Abbas.
Yeah.
I've got a slight clue on the language. I can go with you. I'd like to expand on that as well. Also, at some point, if there's priests here, then maybe our one should liaise with them, see if there's any other report. Might give us more info.
Information. Yeah, you can stop by the stockade and speak to the guys there. Okay, so you send your little delegation to the shaman's hut and present him with the gifts. He's definitely an odd individual. He's blind in one eye, it's completely milky. And while the rest of the town has adopted some civilized modes of dress and behaviour and so on, he's still crawling around his hut stark bollock naked, painted with coloured paints and feathers in his hair, and the whole thing. And his hut still stinks. There are all manner of weird plants and feathers and mushrooms and things hanging from the ceiling, but he seems happy for the meal and beckons you all in.
Well, respectfully introduce our... is the priest with us?
Abbas, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you are. You're back. Okay.
Oh, you are. Right. Well, I'll introduce the sorceress first. With any...
If he's much older than I am, so I will do a Western curtsy and then also just bow my head, and I'll say a polite greeting in the arcane tongue. What might be appropriate for a younger practitioner showing respect to an elder practitioner of the art. So
he does seem to speak a debased form of the arcane tongue, with some Kaikahuran words mingled in amongst it. That's the Egypt equivalent. So you are able to converse.
I will introduce Brother Abbas then. This is my companion, Brother Abbas. My name is Caradin. We may share certain hobbies, and I'll just kind of make a winky gesture towards him.
Do you mock my one eye?
Oh no, forgive me. Is he serious, or is he playing back at me?
You don't know.
Forgive me.
And I'm not going to tell her.
I was not. I meant no disrespect. I was. This is a gesture of merriment and shared secrecy, like a joke that only we understand and no one else can hear.
Like, you came here with food, but you want something. So few people want something of Maru any longer. What can I help you with?
I'll gesture towards Brother Abbas, and my friend will speak first.
We've heard about your village's troubles. Your chief has told us that another tribe has encroached on your land and killed several of your warriors, and some of them have even disappeared. We wonder if you might know anything further that might help us in our investigation.
It is
and defeat whatever evil might lie ahead.
It is a punishment from the spider god, come to chastise us for turning away from the sky and the sea and the land, and turning instead to your one god. Oof, how paltry. How can you have just one god? How do you explain all the conflicts in nature with one god? All this conflict must come from opposing gods, not one. But our spider god, he's punishing us for this, for turning to your god, for wearing clothes.
And do you believe because you haven't succumbed to the temptation of the rest of your tribe, you will be spared this punishment?
Who knows? The spider god is capricious, but I will try to encourage my people to turn away your priests and your silly beliefs. And then
Have there
maybe...
actually been priests that have come to the island to actually preach, or not then?
Oh, yes, yes.
All right.
The traders do not like it, but they come anyway.
I wasn't aware of that.
The one true faith, they say. But if only their god is real, why does my magic work?
This is indeed a question for those much wiser than we to answer. Perhaps we can somehow make slight amends for the encroachment of our preachers upon your people. Disparate folk will trade. They will, marry each other's men and women and either grow together or grow apart and eventually shed blood. Hopefully, we will be able to grow together as the future unfolds. But these Tokal sound like they honor no compacts. They honor no gods worth worshipping. They're preying upon folk here.
This is the change. This is how the spider god has decided to punish us through the Tokel. We used to trade with them many moons ago. They are an arrogant and a strange people. They have very strange beliefs. There is a natural cycle to the world. When something dies, something else grows. But they try to manipulate this cycle by making things die faster, to make things grow faster. But they stopped trading with us, stopped talking to us for much time. And they used to only kill their own. Not others. They regarded us as unworthy, somehow. So now that they are preying upon us, this is a change. And this is why I think the spider god is involved.
Do they too worship the spider god, or do they worship an opposing deity? Or
they worship their own bloody gods.
Got the Aztecs and the Tolmec.
Are they renowned for any ways or weapons or sorceries that we should be alert for?
Through their deaths, they can command the earth to bring forth food. to bring forth water. In battle, they still use wood and stone. But there are many of them, and they are organized, like the Men of Iron.
Do they fear any particular elements or growing things of the earth or symbols?
No. They fear only their own priests.
Ooh, that's good.
And their priests rule through fear or through earned adulation?
They have power, real power, but they wield the power to kill. And as often as that is to enrich the earth and power their empire, magicians are still men and will kill those who stand in their way.
How would these priests dress?
Very good question.
There's something that would.
They wear clothes. Hats with many feathers. Gold. They forget that they are animals. Like your people, but worse. And they dress like the dead.
Okay, could I ask for clarification?
Yes. How do you mean?
How did the dead dress?
They
Bandaging.
replace their face with skulls, their body with bones.
Oh, look, masks and bone armor or something.
Yes.
Oh, this is cool. I mean, that's terrible.
Is there any way for me to send an image or a picture over this? Can I copy it? Oh no, maybe not. I found a neat picture of an Aztec priest with a skull mask that might be worth looking at.
Cool.
I'm thinking of Lord of Bones from Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
Or look would probably, but more gold and feathers, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Mauru has told us probably all that he can, so we know how to identify their priests. We know that they don't seem to have any particular fears or taboos that Mauru is willing to share with us. They have great numbers, yes. So,
What about poison?
Hmm?
They use darts, bows. What sort of weapons are we going to be up?
They do not use poison. They do not wish to spoil the meat.
That's really reassuring.
they eat other men. Oh,
Their priests do.
their priests do. Okay. Does that tie in, Grim, to regaining or harvesting mana or energy for magics and so on?
Yeah,
Darker arts.
the darker arts of magic that you're not so keen on. Yeah, necromancy and soul eating and things.
Blood magic and stuff.
Yeah,
Sacrifice has always been a part of how it's viewed and
yeah. Though you remember Becca telling you about some of the shaman of her own people who would eat the hearts of beasts to gain their power and knowledge, but not people. That was taboo.
So it's a high degree of sympathetic magic then, the symbolism and everything involved with it. Okay. I wonder.
And what of language? Do they speak the Bungodan, or have they got their own?
When we knew them, they spoke the trade tongue and their own language. And he gabbles a bit in their own language. It's very similar to ancient Kaikahuran.
Oh, bugger. No, I've got Amphibian. Damn it. All that time we... Amphibian, ancient Amphibian. Yep. All Greek to me. What do we need?
Now you need ancient Egyptian.
We'll be able to hire a guide, perhaps, and a couple of porters or so on. I would imagine there'd be someone willing to interact to earn some good coin. But I have an idea. I think it might be wise for us to try and capture a prisoner or two from this tribe, and perhaps get some information from them, or ensorcel them with a charm or some kind of command spell to learn what we can from them.
They have to understand
Maybe
that, don't they?
They have to do which one? I'm sorry. They have to understand that.
Yeah. You've still got to speak the language to command them, I would assume.
Yeah. Yes. The magic spells. Yeah. Let me double check. I'll hush off on that. But okay.
While they're talking to this shaman, I think that now that Delwyn knows what kind of enemy we're facing, she's going to look around the village and see if she can purchase some stuff to make traps out of, like string, or like, spun cloth that's like in a long line, so she can like make like tripwires and things of that nature.
Yeah. Because you've got set traps, don't you, as a special
Yeah.
ability. What was that?
Sorry, that's my little ones, I think.
Okay.
Got squirrels at the bottom of the garden.
Yes, they've got twine, some interesting wood. You're unfamiliar with the jungle wood, but you can find pieces with the right sort of strength or flexibility, and so on. So yeah, you could get a bundle of materials, enough to make a few traps.
And how much would that set me back?
Just a handful of coins. I'll sort it out later.
Great, thanks.
Not
So, yeah,
sure.
I'm like wandering around the village, and then eventually I make it back to Maru's hut, and I just stand outside and wait for them to come out.
Yeah. They had like a little market in the center of the town with just sort of blankets spread out with things on them. The ships come in, so there's plenty of trade. The mercenaries are sort of wandering about the village trying to talk to people and get the lay of the land.
Maybe I'll like buy some extra rations too while I'm there, because I don't think 7 days might be enough.
Yeah. You can get some tubers that should keep for a while, and you just have to boil them and eat them.
Right on.
Probably some dried meat as well.
Are you a hunter or a military archer?
I'm a hunter,
Me.
but I don't know these lands very well, and so I don't know what I can get out of it, right? So
True.
actually going to the market, figuring out what they use for rations would help me learn what things I could probably get in the wild too.
Well, when they're traveling through the woods, they probably just hunt and gather for what they need for the most part. But you can pick up on a few of the local plants that are edible from what's present at the market, and what animals as well. Yeah, you can talk to them and gather that sort of information. So you can have a good idea of where you can get food, water, stuff like that.
So yeah,
In-
that's
in
what
the-
that's what she's doing, is preparing for her like role in the adventure to come.
Didn't Imby send his grandsons with us before?
He did.
Didn't? Because they speak the language. So
Yeah.
if they're about, or if they didn't get taken,
Yeah, they're still around, and he will send them with you.
I'll think of introducing the archer to them, because
Mhm.
that'd be the best bet.
Yeah, because they work as guides for visitors. So
I have some good news. The spell enslave indicates that language is not a problem. The target will always understand what the master commands them, regardless of language. We have a legion baton that would allow me to use that power and conserve energy while I do it. So capturing someone like that, we would be able then to make use of anything they know. They become a complete and very limited literal interpretation slave to the spell. So if we do manage to take a captive, we should be able to learn a fair bit from him.
I mean, we still need to know their language, right? Because they can't. They can understand you, but you can't understand them.
See, I wasn't thinking of that. You're probably right. Then I don't know if the spell would work both ways.
Maybe we should take some guide that like knows their language in our party or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the town elders' grandchildren who are now coming with you as guides, they can speak enough of the language to get by. So
okay, cool.
One way or another, you can translate back and forth, hopefully.
I don't know how Jim is going to rule this. The spell reads, language barriers, with an S there, are not a problem. The victim will always understand what his master is telling him to do. I don't know if the magic would make that reciprocal or not.
I don't think that would make it reciprocal. It just means they have to do whatever you say.
All right. Are there any language comprehension spells that sorcerers have in the game? Do you guys know? Anyone who knows the rules better than I do? I'm new to the game, relatively speaking.
I haven't seen any.
I don't think so. Of course, Becca had that helmet that translated any language.
Helmet of Typhon. I would have killed for that.
Unfortunately, it makes you speak gibberish at the same time, but...
No change to that.
No,
translates everything you say to an ancient dead language.
Yeah,
like the Futurama one.
At what rank do sorcerers have the ability to begin creating their own spells, if at all, in the game? Is there something you can specify it?
It's just kind of up to me, really.
There was a paragraph about it, I think, in the player's guide.
I can have a look. It's not urgent.
All right, one thing I'll work on then for the future, and I'll move off this topic in just a second, but the enslave spell, it says language barriers are a problem. So I guess there's a little bit of magical code in there that it deals with comprehension and direct manipulation of the speech centers of the mind and so on. So I'll try and kind of unweave that part of the magic into maybe a lesser ranked spell.
So you're going to cut and paste someone's magical JavaScript into your own app.
Yes, yeah.
Then you have to like inverse it and apply it to yourself, right? So like you have to be really careful that you don't accidentally make yourself a slave to another person.
Right. I'm trying to just unweave that part of it. Hopefully, I'll get all the little commas and little tildes in the right spot.
Yeah. Maybe there'll just be a huge magical blowback and a god will appear in the sky saying syntax error and disappear.
404, whatever.
Yes.
Just destroys the universe. Yeah.
Blue screen of death. Everything just...
Yeah. The demon lord divide by 0 appears and lays waste to the landscape. Right, anyway. So that's stuff for downtime. Is there any more prep you want to get into? Or are you ready to head out into the jungle at dawn?
What sort of weapons are we likely to come up against?
He mentioned wood.
He mentioned wood and stone weapons. Yeah.
So, what about throwing?
Mostly they use spears and clubs, from what you can gather.
That's good.
The game are hove to real world tradition as highly in this setting as they have for others. There will be hungamungas, hurled multi-bladed throwing daggers.
I want a hungamunga.
It's like a throwing star, except not scaled, to the bottom of a pop can, but with a handle and like a pinwheel fan of blades. They just.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 Kikiris.
Yeah, yes, that's right. That's right.
It looks like it was designed by Klingons on PCP.
Yes.
Right.
What was that awful sci-fi fantasy thing? Had a glaive in it?
Krull?
Krull.
Don't you dare insult Krull.
Krull was amazing.
Oh, it was truly awful. I love it to bits. I mean, I like Hawk the Slayer. That's how awful I like
Hawk the Slayer's rubbish. Get out.
It's got Commander Eddington from Deep Space Nine as the main lead in it, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'll like ask the group of you after you leave Maru's hut, like, so what did you get out of him?
He's mad.
Well, on the plus side,
And
your bow will give us an advantage. If all they've got is best ranged one that they've got is throwing weapons, spears and the like. So, providing they don't get close enough to you, you'll have it all your own way.
oh, that's excellent. Although I don't know if I'll be able to take out an army with 12 arrows, but
Okay, seriously,
hopefully we'll
dude.
come down to that.
Well, I can
You've
always
got to
lend
have
you-
arrows.
I'll carry a couple of extra quivers if it'll help out. I'll bear that burden. If
I
you
can always
need
lend
help.
him a couple of my +6 arrows. Sorry, 6 + 1 arrows even.
Yeah, get that the right way around.
No, we may not be threatened by poison, luckily. So all that Mauru told us, I won't hold back anything. So, they don't seem to have the same kind of gear we do. We have a tech edge. We have
So
better
are we heading to the pyramid then? Is that the plan?
Yes, the that seems to be where this particular band of the Tukal are based. And previously, the party dealt with another pyramid in this area, which housed a minor demon and was causing problems in the surrounding area. So maybe this will be the same. And the idea that Panu has is that if you deal with that pyramid and whatever evil presence lies within, then the Tukel may fuck off.
It may be an aspect of Baelor that's being worshipped as well.
Well, there's not a moment to lose then, is there? We should get going.
We should indeed.
Okay, so
Beacon.
with
Trauma.
Dalewyn and Madrock as sort of scouts, and Panu's grandsons guiding you along the way, you leave the village and its scant amount of farmland and abruptly enter the jungle, and it's like night and day difference. It's suddenly dark. There's the sounds of unfamiliar animals and birds everywhere. Snakes, brightly coloured, squirming through the branches. Brightly coloured frogs, which Panu's grandsons tell you not to touch.
You can smear them on your arrows.
We'll just put them on the end of your arrows,
Well,
like pencil
but don't lick
toppers.
them. Not until downtime.
Oh well, Maru would say do lick them. Yes, absolutely.
I prefer not to grab the wrong ones in my quiver and fall dead.
So we don't want any hypnotoads.
No. Okay. So Dalewyn, you've crept on ahead a bit. You're somewhat at home in a jungle. You know a forest. You know the ancient forests. It's not that different. It's just hot and wet. But you're scouting ahead a bit. When
Is
you
it
hear,
is it close enough to like get part of my favored terrain bonus here, or is it
yeah,
too far
yeah,
away?
yeah, it's close,
Yeah?
it's close enough. But yeah, you're scouting ahead, sort of hunkered down, moving through the wet leaves, when you hear a more sizable rustle from the bushes nearby, like something's moving through them toward you.
It's
Like
coming out of the
directly-
forest.
Like fast and directly in my direction, or like slowly and like to an angle.
Slowly
Like how-
at an angle, sort of coming in from your northeast, if where you're facing is north.
Okay. So then, I think Delwyn's pretty brave, so she's going to try to get closer and see what it is.
Okay. Can you make a... Well, what's your stealth?
Sneak forward. Her stealth is a 17.
Okay.
Is that with your bonus?
For favoured terrain.
Oh, +2. Yeah.
Nice.
That sounds really high. I'm glad to hear it. Holy cow.
Yeah, for a level 1 character, that's pretty high.
Just for any level character, 17 sounds incredibly high. Some of these numbers have blown my mind. I'm used to I mean, where's Becca's character sheet? The character's not here now, but
Yeah.
the attack value is 21 for Becca.
That's barbarians for you. Okay, roll a d20, get 11 or under.
I rolled a 4.
Okay, so you creep forward, peer around the mossy trunk of one of these huge ancient trees, and there in a very small clearing is a tiny deer with great big pointed teeth sticking downward and spiky little horns. And it's pulling at the leaves off a bush systematically.
I mean, we need food for our journey, right? So I might just take this as a win, you know. So very slowly, I'll pull an arrow from my quiver and lean out from behind the tree, and try and take it down in one shot. So go for probably not for the head because that's where the horns are, but like the neck.
Okay.
Right?
Make a roll d20 just under your attack.
Okay. My attack's 14, but I get +2 because of my terrain bonus, or does that not count?
I'm not sure actually.
I think it's on stealth perception.
It says +2 to appropriate rolls, so I think that can include attack. I think I will include it here for attack from ambush in a forest. So yeah, you can add 2 to your attack.
So I rolled a 14 exactly, so that's right on the attack value.
Okay.
So
With the +2, that'd be 16. So, okay. You let fly the arrow. It is only a little deer, so you strike it. Where were you aiming for? The heart or
the neck?
The neck.
Yeah.
Straight through. It gives one surprised, squeaky little bellow sound, and then staggers a bit, but it's bleeding too fast. Can't get any air. Doesn't get very far. Just a couple of meters before it collapses into the leaves.
Yeah, I run out with my dagger drawn and slit its throat to make sure it's finished off, and then pick it up and sling it over my shoulder and start taking it back to the group through the jungle.
Yeah. Can you roll 20-sided dice scoring equal to or under your perception, please?
All right, I rolled another 14, and my perception is 8. So
okay,
no.
So no. Right. So the rest of you are moving through the jungle. It's slow going. It's probably going to take you a couple of days to reach where you need to be. When Delwyn, your little young slip of a girl, appears with a little deer, thoroughly dead, over her shoulders.
It's venison tonight.
That's good.
Can you all make perception rolls, please?
I'm a bit concerned about the teeth.
I've never had deer meat in real life.
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, we have venison quite regularly.
It's 2 deer for me.
Ha
Boom. And the new player quits the game.
How is it compared to, let's say, a medium to well done steak? Not well done, but a medium rare.
It's really tough. It's really tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's gamey, very iron rich.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I like.
And it's very lean, so there's not a lot of fat on it.
Did you say reflex roll, sorry, James?
I said perception.
Perception.
D20 equal to under perception.
Well, I got a 2.
Oh, yeah.
I think is a first for.
Yeah. Made it with a 5.
Okay, so some people made it. Okay. When Delwyn drops the thing down, so you can get a look at it, you notice that it has a weird coloured handprint pressed on the back of its fur, on its haunch.
And it belongs to somebody.
Oh no, we just poached.
What the blazes is that?
It's a weird sort of 3-fingered claw-looking hand.
Who's in charge here? Bakla.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, hang on. That sounds like you're remembering something that might be. You know what? What do you know? Hang
In
on.
fairness, I can't remember if a certain thing was mentioned in the adventure the last time we played, or if I'm remembering it from something I read. Oh, I'm going to clam up. Sorry, because I can't remember.
Do the guides react at all to the image? Because everyone's sort of like pointing and looking at it now.
Yeah, the one of the guides comes over and sort of kneels down and looks at the thing, and then looks a bit worried. Volocreth.
Oh, crikey, no, I wasn't.
What is a volocraft?
You've seen the bright-coloured birds in the trees with the beaks? The ones that talk sometimes? That mimic us?
The parrots.
Yeah.
Like them, but like man.
So this is they've marked it like I own this little deer.
Yes. We
Is it
should
common
eat the
for-
evidence as soon as possible.
Is it common for these deer to have these big sharp teeth and weird antler horns? In this part of the world, I take it.
Yes.
I just take my dagger and I just like cut that part of the deer off, and I'm like, good to go.
Let me have it. I'm going to burn it into ash, if you would. Just throw it over on the reeds over here,
There you go.
and maybe
Before you
make
do that,
the
prevailing
wound look ragged. Make it look like not a neat little patch of skin was cut away, like maybe just in case someone stumbles by. And I'll unleash a dragon breath on it to incinerate it.
Plausibilis denialibus.
Yes.
Venison
But,
in
like,
flamo.
My like eyes go wide when I see that. You know, it's like it's the first time I've seen it, so like,
Yeah.
a little freaked out.
I'd probably turn away. Just is that one of the birds over there?
You smell cooking deer.
Regardless, I've got dinner sorted, so let's
You
finish
see,
our trek.
smell the
Here.
cooking deer. As soon as Carradine would look up right away and go, "We should be on the alert. Their senses are probably a lot sharper than ours. They may notice that right away."
So we've got a tribe of things that look like Big Bird from Sesame Street, yeah?
I know there's a wonderful illustration at the back of the rulebook.
I'll have a peek. Thank you.
Well, in mine there is.
Yeah,
In the
there is.
beastry section. I think it's 252 in mine.
I remember there's a picture in the original paperback, so don't recall.
Marking things that are to be yours that are living in the natural jungle. Dares do that.
Yeah,
Tyrant?
they're not actually that stupid looking.
No,
Volocreth.
they look they look kind of fearsome actually.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that little bit of art in the back of the book, it is on 252, the PDF I have. What a nice little bit of black and white art. It's quite good. It looks like a birdman that lifts, like a hawk-headed birdman that lifts.
There you go. I'll put my hand over the stats.
That's it. Very
Yeah.
good. Very nice.
So I'm in my pajamas. I don't want the camera on. I'm literally lying.
At
in
least
bed.
you're wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm glad you've got a shirt on. This is good. Not that you haven't in the past, but I'm glad you're fully clothed. Comfortably clothed.
That's a different kind of a weekend.
Anyway, would anyone like to carry this while I scout ahead forward again?
Yeah, we'll trust it up with the porters here.
Give it to somebody.
Again, with the carrying lumps of bloodied flesh around in a jungle full of predators.
Yeah.
Just have we got sacks or?
Maybe.
Yeah, you've got some sacks and stuff. You could butcher it and leave some of the carcass behind and just wrap up the
Yeah,
meat.
why don't we actually just take a breather, like not in real life, but our party. Let's rehydrate. We'll set up I can just poof up a nice fire. We can get some of it cooking right away, and throw the offal off over that way. Maybe if our guides can find a suitable campsite for us just for a couple of hours, we rest up maybe.
Yep. Okay.
Do these deer travelling herds have we got irate parents to worry about? Again, teeth. I'm not sure about that, Phil.
Well, obviously, we want to, make sure we're watching the tree line and all that. But
I'll do better. I'll climb up a tree and get a different angle, avoiding the snakes.
What's your reflexes?
It's pretty good. And I've got. It's pretty crap. It's 11, but I do have the.
You did have some climbing gear, didn't you?
Skill.
Oh, you got the skill. Okay.
Yeah.
Basic, intermediate.
It's half my rank round up, so
Okay.
I knock 3 off. So effectively, I've got a reflexes of 14 for climbing.
Okay. That's enough to climb a tree that's got lots of creepers and snakes to hold on to.
Why did it have to be snakes? Because someone's got to say that every session. Yeah, so I'll hope for a better angle. That's something I want to buy.
What's that?
Shopping list. Telescope.
Okay. So you want to buy a shopping list and then a telescope?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting every time.
What's your perception?
It's 12.
Okay. Roll a d20, tell me what you get.
9.
Okay. You squirm up the tree, and they sort of settle down to dry out some of the meat and, dress the body. And as you get up, you can't get a fantastically good look around from the very top of the tree, but once you climb down a bit, so you're just beneath the canopy, you can see relatively far, because the canopy blocks out the sunlight and everything below doesn't grow to quite the same extent to get in the way. Fairly distant, where you think Delwyn was scouting, you can see a small party of people dressed in lots of feathers. Or do they actually have feathers? You're not sure at this distance.
Okay, going by body language. Humans move in a particular fashion.
Now, you sort of squint as you look at them. Most of them are standing around. One of them sort of hunkers down and touches his hand at the dirt, sniffs. And you can see he's got claws instead of fingers. And when he sniffs, you see the feather, which you first assumed to be a headdress, the whole sort of crest rises up.
And is there any pointing or any indication they're coming in our direction?
There's a lot of angry stamping, and they pick up their big wooden clubs.
Okay. Climb down a bit so I can still see them.
Yeah.
So I can talk to the group without yelling down.
Yeah.
That would be guys, we might have been made.
How many of them are there?
You count 7.
Okay. Probably 10 if they've got scouts. Always over us.
So do we abandon the camp or do we fight?
Well, they're not moving at the moment. They seem to be working themselves up. I mean, if we're really lucky, they found the trail of the other guys. But
I'm curious, perhaps if we are just forthright with them and perhaps offer them a gift in recompense for what we poached, might that be a better tack than trying to an awkward maybe hi, bye, goodbye, sorry for trespassing interaction? Bribery works. Let's try it.
I love that as an idea. Do the nephew, grandsons, Imby's grandsons, do they know any of the... Is there a language those things speak? Are they things? Are they people?
They are.
If they talk, I've got them by the short, whatever they have instead of hairs.
The short and fluffies.
Yeah.
Got them by the Eider dance.
that goes against everything Delwyn believes in. And so she would be like, you shouldn't pay those people.
Well, I'm guessing you left Elsland because you shot more than one of the king's deer, yeah? as is tradition.
King's deer, regular deer, who can tell the difference?
Exactly. Well, these guys can.
It's
and
amazing how much tax collectors look like deer in the right light.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the way their eyes go big and starey in the headlights.
Exactly.
And the way you glue antlers onto their bodies after you killed them.
Well, you know.
Why can't
Because
I?
if they talk, I would love to do that. That is beautiful. If they don't and they're really annoyed.
But we're not like super set up at this camp. We could just like pick up and go.
Yes,
Yeah, but we're leaving a trail with them with home ground advantage.
Well, we could set up a trap for them behind us.
Yeah.
And then we
We
could
could-
ambush them.
I'd be
I
a lot
wonder
more
if-
cocky if the Knigat was here with us.
You may have an opportunity to learn more about the Tokal, because I suspect the Tokal probably prey on these folk as well. Perhaps they have no love for them, and a common enemy
That
might
would
help us forge a new relationship.
Well, why don't I take the evidence and I'll
Mhm.
go take this away from camp, and then you go and do your diplomacy thing. And she like rolls her eyes.
Well, no. I have an idea. While we are doing that, that will be more than enough time for you, for example, to scout out a line of retreat if we need to run. And you can put a couple of booby traps along the way so that we have a fallback point.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
And she
So
just,
you're
like,
gonna.
matter of fact, like looks around for a place to retreat to, and like set up like our retreat path.
Yeah, I mean, this is your favoured terrain, so you kind of know what you're about here. So what kind of traps do you want to leave?
Like if there's like an area where like it's like a funnel where like there's a bunch of trees and we could like run through the part in the center of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to set up a bow trap to like shoot an arrow through that like that narrow passage,
Yeah.
right? And then maybe like right in front of that, like some sort of snare to like, I don't know, pick them up and put them in a tree or something. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like due in time, but
pension snare.
Yeah. And for your third trap?
I'll keep the other one for later.
Okay. Right, so you take the evidence and scarper back a bit to create a sort of fallback zone. The rest of you can hear them now. They're not particularly stealthy, moving through the woods, through the forest, through the jungle, and you can hear them sort of croaking and cawing to each other.
So again, the grandchildren, do they know the language? Do they speak the trade one, or
Some speak, some don't.
good enough? Let's hope we get a smart one.
Okay, so you're not gonna. How are you gonna prepare other than having the fallback zone? Are you gonna retreat, hide, weapons drawn? What?
I think it might be best for us to be standing, right, ready. Our camp, and make no signs of wanting to flee or anything like that. But we should be standing and ready, not sitting around our camp lackadaisical. Weapons not drawn, but loosen your blades and whatnot in your scabbards. If they pay enough mind to look at your weapons like that, they'll know that you're prepped and ready. Same thing with any of us with throwing blades or a bow. Have a couple of arrows just stuck into the ground very clearly, as I'm going to be able to draw those quickly and use them if I need to. And then perhaps have all of us standing, and I'll have a jar of honey wrapped up in my hands, just ready, casually held, like maybe like a heavy watermelon against my chest. And I'll be standing with hopefully what would appear to be a confident but calm expression on my face.
I have a wonderful idea. I don't know if you can expedite it. How about an illusion of exactly that at 20 feet away from our direction? And if they
That
turn up, see that, and beat the snot out of those things, we can make like shepherds.
we could. I'd be willing to do that if I didn't actually want to talk with them, because using magic like that might make them all crazy or might think we're demons or something. So I'd rather have a mundane interaction first, because we probably could learn from them if they're willing to speak with us.
Delwyn is going to be hiding with her bow drawn, like prepared for anything.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you can creep back up to be within range, and then melt into the undergrowth.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not setting up the illusion.
I will if I'm. I don't think it's a great idea, but I will. I will listen to everyone else's call on that. If you really, really want me to do it, I'll do it.
It's just as a way of gouging their initial intent.
Okay, let me have a look at the illusion.
Because if we
illusion,
everything is something else, so I have been true.
it says creates an illusion up to 2 meters cubed in size, can be used to disguise others. So it's not a grand illusion; it's a rank 3 spell. Phantasm, that's unactable as a creature. Yeah, it's a minor illusion. I wouldn't be able to throw up a real scene like that.
All right.
I mean,
If you limit it to just a copy of you sat there, you could do that.
No, I don't think it's feasible. We'll maybe have to do that next time. I'll see if there are any other illusion spells I might be able to learn or research.
I think there's major illusion or something at a higher level.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think first rank one does one that's just visual.
Right. The first one of these parrot men appears at the edge of the clearing where you've been encamped and looks you all over. He looks angry, but then hawks and other predatory birds always look kind of angry.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of that to them. His feathers ruffle and shimmer with iridescence. And he calls back to the others. And you hear their answering cries, and the rest of them move up, hefting great big wooden clubs. The edges of the clubs are all studded with blades of napped obsidian.
What's that? That won't chase. I will lead with a bow. As indeed you should.
Okay.
We'll make lots of them, I'm sure. And I will attempt, starting off with the Mungolian trade language, and greetings, great lord. We are here to bring whatever you want. We would like to trade with your people.
Greetings,
heard
great lord.
I see how this is. Right. Is there one amongst you who speaks the language?
Another one of them moves forward. He's carrying a staff instead of one of these great big stone-bladed clubs. And his beak has been carved into and then inlaid with gold.
Cool.
Oh my.
I've got to say, I love these details, man. It's awesome. Right. And I'll repeat the introduction. Greetings, we travel from a far land, and we were hoping you would be interested in trade.
He listens to you very carefully, and then
I'll run through a couple of others if...
No, it seems to be understanding, you think. When he speaks, it sounds like one of the farmers from the coastal town. He says, "My goats,
Yes. A mistake was made. I did not realise there was a mark of ownership.
From his beak comes the sound of Milano's voice. Please take my gold, just don't kill me.
And that's why he stays at home now.
That's a wonderful little detail. That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
I have to know something. Jim, are there instructions in the module to play them like that, or is this all you?
This is all me.
Oh, fantastic. I will make a slight little in my throat at the, please take my gold, don't kill me, and slowly reveal the jar of honey.
Okay, he opens his beak and makes a sound like a swarm of bees.
And I'll step forward just very tentatively and very clearly with body language indicate that I'm offering it to him. We're sorry.
Okay, he picks up the jar and looks at it and sort of bites it with his beak and tries to get the cap off.
Oh, that's going to be fun with that.
I will show him how it works. Maybe it's like a stopper jar or cork or something. I'm not sure. I didn't really envision it. I think I had a mason jar in my mind, but I'll show him how it works to unscrew, I guess, if that's possible.
Yeah. Well, it's probably sort of string and brown paper, but yeah.
Oh, okay, string and brown paper.
He looks inside and then speaks in what you think is his own voice for the first time.
Someone ate all the bees.
Oh, I apologize. We find the taste of their nectar quite delicious. Do you like meat?
Yes.
Do you like dry meat or very wet meat?
Wet.
I have something you might like, even though it's not very wet. Pardon me. I'll hastily get some jerky and take a piece and show my own teeth, kind of biting at it, working at it, masticating with making it moist and whatnot, and then kind of showing like I'm enjoying a longer experience of flavor rather than gibbets of meat going down my maw. And then I'll
mocking them because they have no teeth, aren't they?
Yeah, it's way harder with a beak.
Yeah. When you
Look what I can do. Yeah.
Showing off.
When you hand him a piece, it reminds you of watching someone try and use chopsticks for the first time. So he's trying to chew it, and it just keeps bending in the side of his beak.
Okay. I said 1, 2, 3. I have something for you. I'll get one of the pig iron daggers.
He hands you back the piece of jerky, and then another voice that sounds like it comes from the village. He says, your canoe sank.
Shaka when the walls fell. Right?
Yes.
I'll offer up the one of the daggers then. An iron dagger, a lower quality iron dagger from our home, but they don't have worked metals and whatnot. So I called it a pig iron dagger.
Yeah, he picks it up and looks at it and makes a couple of appreciative cawing and crowing noises. And then what sounds like the noises of an illicit tryst between lovers in the forest at the edge of the village comes out of his beak, and he takes the dagger and nods.
So we found out he likes to watch. And
then he leans down very close to you, and in Milano's voice again says, please don't kill me, and wags his finger in front of your face, and then turns back to the rest, and they file away back into the jungle, giving you all evil looks.
As he turns away or so on, he did look rather shamanistic, ritual, minded. I will just kind of whisper in Archaeus, in the arcane tongue. Might we trade in other matters and perhaps discuss things over a fire?
Okay, he turns around and haltingly, because it's hard for him to form exactly the same sounds and words. Fire singes our feathers, but you speak the spirit tongue. What do you want?
Might I say something to my friends without seeming too rude to you? I need to ask them something before I proceed.
Be quick. We must patrol.
Okay, everyone. Should I explain to him about the Tokel, or should we maybe just ask in general terms, or very specifically about the Tokel's deity, if they're being preyed upon? What do you want me to do?
Okay, that and permission to pass through what seems to be their territory. We're not interested in fighting them.
Okay, so permission to pass through their lands to the pyramid where the Tokel are, and do they know about the Tokel reawakening a spirit and perhaps preying on everyone that isn't Tokel?
Yeah, if they've got a problem with them, this will work out.
All right, Dalen, any ideas? Anything you want I should add in?
I'm not there, so I can't help you with anything.
Ah, shite! Yeah. I forgot you were laying an ambush. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I will then say my name. People call me Karaden. What may I call you?
Quill.
Quill. May we pass through these lands? We think they belong to you. We mean no disrespect to you. We must find the pyramid and deal with an enemy there.
Monkey things are not our concern. But do not take what is not yours.
We will endeavor our best to observe your laws. The monkey men who sacrifice to their gods in bloody ways, do they prey upon your people as well?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We seek to exact a blood price for them for grievances we have, for crimes against we and ours. Can you offer any counsel?
Monkey matters.
Thank you, Quill.
Thank you, Keratin.
And I'll relate all of that back to everyone. So yeah, we're SOL in that regard. Sadly, we just have to make sure we don't take things that don't belong to us.
Yeah. So that's
not a chastisement. This is just we got to watch. Please don't, because we haven't gamed together before, Cam. I don't want you assuming it's a passive aggressive dig or anything like that. I'm just trying to speak in that regard.
Yeah. Right, so they make their way off back into the jungle, and you can hear them practicing phrases that they heard you using to each other in your voice, which is a little disturbing.
At least we didn't ask him if Polly wanted a cracker.
That's racist.
And this is why the priests aren't allowed to talk at the
this is like a stum that was floating around in my head for the last half an hour.
So what were you saying, Cam?
Cam knows that Delwyn did wrong by, shooting something that's the wrong property. But Delwyn and herself is like as chaotic as they come. So she's like, I can't believe you admitted to it. What's wrong with you?
Well, that was the thing. I admitted to it.
You're just handing out daggers. I'll take one right now.
I didn't do it. You didn't see me do it. You can't prove anything. It was like that when I got here.
There we go.
Yeah.
Which is normally what I would say. In fact, I have said. But
these cookie crumbs aren't cookie crumbs.
So that's probably what Delwyn says when she comes back from her ambush position. It's like, why did you admit to the whole thing?
I
dagger for nothing.
I gambled on their reaction, and it paid off this time. But
yeah, dude, you're out me. That's great.
Now I gotta go take those traps down before you stumble into them in the middle of the night.
I'm glad that you came out, actually, because otherwise I would have gone looking for you and you'd have heard the thunk.
You're gonna go take the traps
You'd
down.
Be sniggering behind a tree.
Come back in her trap, make it clear, So.
Okay.
And then she goes back to butchering this deer.
Well, we've paid for it now. It's all legal.
It's not going to taste as good now that it's been properly bought and paid for.
Seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing like beer, you know.
But
So-
if we do end up with a big jar of beads, we know where to take it.
Yes. Jar of bees should so be a magic item. What does it do? It produces infinite bees.
There was in the Elven Crystals, I don't think you guys found it, there was a harp that had a beehive grown over it, wasn't there?
Yeah, I don't think you found that. It was in the harpy's nest, but you didn't find it.
I nearly thought you said the dark crystal. Then I said I remember that in the dark crystal.
No.
I did nearly think with those things you were going to go for Skeksis.
I guess we finish up camping here and then start heading to the next.
Yeah.
Next
The next day or so of travel is fairly uneventful. Then you run into one of these totems, which you take to belong to the Tukel. It's a stick bound about with bright beads made of semi-precious stone, with feathers and bones tied to it, and it has been driven deep into the earth and has had a small cairn of stones built up around the base of it.
Would you like me to destroy it?
Can I get any sense of anything magical about it?
No, you don't think it's magical.
We might be better off leaving it up at the moment so that...
I might pry some of these stones out, though.
Yeah, they might be worth a few coins altogether.
Again, leaving little evidence of our passing, but for now. You're a hunter, this should be...
All right, that makes sense. You've convinced me.
Hey, we all love the shinies, but we can pick them up afterwards.
So instead of a little angel and a devil, you have a little bandit and a little hunter on your shoulders.
But you owe me a drink at the tavern when we get back home.
I know some of the very best and the very worst places. I'll take to both.
Excellent. Let's move on.
Does anyone have the tracking skill? I think Dalewin does.
I do.
Okay. It looks like people fairly regularly come through here. It may be a patrol route along their border.
I'll point out the footprints and say this looks to be a patrol route of some sort. Do you think we should try and ambush them and take our prisoner? Figure out what they know?
Got an idea how often or how many?
Very good idea. Very, very good idea.
Can I get...
Would you
roll a d20 equal to or under your perception to get some more information.
All right, perception is 8. I roll a 19. So that's not gonna work.
Yeah, you don't know. They come through regularly enough that you can't really distinguish one set of prints from another.
I can't tell if it's 3 groups of 4 or 1 group of 12. They come very regularly, so they overlap each other quite a lot.
And it rains a lot, which doesn't help with the tracks either.
It's also very muddy. See here.
Okay, so some sort of watch out bit and just monitor that.
Well, we can follow these tracks to their source. Maybe hit them on the middle of their patrol.
That's probably a good idea. Maybe you can range ahead or behind a little bit to suss out how much further the tracks go, and kind of work out the rough radius or
a
no, maybe
direction.
that's really complicated.
Do they always work clockwise or counterclockwise? Or something like that?
Yeah, do the footprints always go in one direction, or
Yeah,
do they go in?
They always seem to go in one direction.
Yeah, so they always patrol this way.
Okay. So this would be a good spot, or maybe you can scout a good spot for us to set up an ambush, and I can lay an illusion at that point to maybe draw them in. Maybe a body of one of those bird creatures, those bird men, or maybe I could use one of our one of what's his name, Maru's grandsons, just as a template in my mind to make. They said they were preying on the trade counters, right? So if we have one of them there, maybe laying in the middle of their path, appearing to be maybe passed out or injured or so on, they might go right for him excitedly, and then whack whack, we get him.
Yeah, that would work. Which way do you think I should set up the ambush? The way that they're coming or the way that they're going?
I'm guessing the further along the way they're going, because they'll start off like, the boss is watching me. By the time they get halfway through, they're bored. They come around. So maybe the later end.
Can I get a feel for how long ago these tracks were last made, Grim?
No, not with the roll that you got, but
Okay.
at least once a day they come through you.
Okay. So maybe I'll go in the direction they come from, right?
Yeah.
And try to find a good place to ambush them, an area where there's a bunch of trees or something on both sides of the path, or good foliage or something of that nature.
Yeah. This is all natural jungle. It's not really taken care of at all. So there's a lot of debris and trunks where trees have fallen down over the years. They rot down quite quickly, but there's plenty of places that are decent for an ambush.
Okay, so I'll lead everybody in that direction, and maybe I will maybe I'll scout ahead. Further along their path, so that I know when they're coming, so I can come back and tell everybody to get ready.
Okay, so you're gonna scout on ahead, so you can see.
And then everybody else, and then maybe I'll set up some traps and stuff in that area, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find a clearing near the trail that we can put the illusion in, and that's where I'll lay some traps down, right?
Yeah.
And then that's what we'll do. We'll
you've got time, so you can sort of lay some traps in the areas around the path where they might move to take cover.
Yeah.
Once they're attacked, and there is a small clearing. You can sort of clear that a bit more to create room for the illusion. And there's plenty of hiding places and cover behind fallen tree trunks and stumps and things that everyone else can squirrel into.
Tactically speaking, does the sorceress have her men-at-arms with her?
You didn't say that you were taking Semprino, and
No. I figured I didn't bring them up after you mentioned we had that cadre of warriors guarding the town. So we have some folks from home if we absolutely need them in a pinch. But I figured maybe it's time for them to have time with their families and take a vacation and whatnot.
Carradine, can I ask, this illusion you wish to cast, will it exhaust you greatly to cast it?
No. It is.
I have a similar spell that wouldn't tax me as much. I could create a mirage of something man-sized, but it's a very short-range spell.
I am able to kind of conjure up the image of something within maybe a good spear's throw, 15 or 20 meters or so. And in real life, guys, I don't know how big 2 cubic meters is, but 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters, that's okay. That's 2 by 2 by 2. I'm remembering my distant math.
It's about
like a really big professional wrestler.
Yeah.
So it'd cover this group minus the grandson, which I think we ought to have hiding there.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. What's Delwyn's stealth?
17. With the +2, it's a 19.
19. Okay.
And then also I can do this thing called stillness, where I can drop my defense to get extra stealth.
Yeah. Do you want to do that?
I'll probably do that because I would rather not be caught than
Okay.
have
So
defense.
after you've added the points on, what does that make it?
Well, if I drop all of my defense down to 0, that makes it 27.
Oof.
I don't think it's a straight trade, is it?
It is 1 for 1 when I'm in my favorite terrain.
Jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fantastic.
Right, they have absolutely no chance whatsoever of seeing you, especially when they roll a 20 to try and see
There
you.
you go.
So,
There you go.
right, you
So
just kind of disappear into the woods, and you see this this patrol of men
how many of them are there?
coming along. There's 5 men. One of them seems to be the leader, and he's carrying a metal poleaxe in the Pharamane design across his shoulders.
Interesting.
The rest of the men are carrying spears with black tips, and in their other hand they've got their shields and a pair of javelins sort of crossed through the shield that they're carrying along with them. They're using their spears as like walking sticks at the moment.
I'm sorry. How many did you say there were? There were 8.
5 men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So I'll head back to the group and tell them to get ready. There's 5 of them. One of them has a metal poleaxe, which is surprising. And the other ones have what are those called? Obsidian-tipped spears and javelins.
Should I still plan an illusion like that? I was thinking maybe they're 2 guys, but 5.
I don't get them. We have that whole area trapped, so that's where we need them to go.
All right, I will then creep forward with you. I'll lay everything down. I guess I want to maximize my ability to be stealthy, so I guess I'll just go up with my whatever I'm carrying. I won't have my lantern with me, but my baton, my short sword, a couple of potions. Yeah, just my weapons and gear, but I'll swap out the lantern and tinder and oil for a water skin, so I don't die if I get separated. And yeah, I'll creep up hopefully within 20 meters beside Dalevin.
Yep.
If you would, maybe give me some cover.
Yeah, I found like a good place for us to hide near this clearing, so that you can do your spell, and then I can react, and then everybody can jump out, and we can take them down.
Okay. Who has the lowest stealth out of all of you?
Mine is a 15.
Mine's also a 15.
Yeah, mine's 18. It's one of you guys.
Okay, so 15.
So 15 is not shabby.
No. Okay. Right. They come along the path, following the same way that they've walked every other time. Single file along this little animal trail, really. They don't see any of you. And is the illusion going up or not?
Yes, I'll make an illusion of Imbu. What was the name of the town again?
Imbi.
Imbi. So an Imbian city dweller, I guess, dressed in whatever I can remember of their semi-traditional clothing, and I'll base it on one of Maru's grandsons.
Yeah.
I'll just have him kind of collapsed over and displayed in such a way that it might look like he's drunk or heat fatigued or something like that.
Okay.
And I'll make it. I don't know if I can do it with the illusion, but I'll make it appear like he's breathing the sleep of someone deeply and drunkenly asleep.
Yeah. Okay.
Slow and regular.
So as they come into your sort of designated ambush area, they spot the illusion, and they move forward up around him. And then the leader unslings his poleaxe and with the butt goes to poke the illusion, which promptly vanishes.
So the moment he does that is when we'll spring.
Yep.
So that's when I'll loose an arrow at the leader, and then everybody will like jump out with weapons drawn, right?
Yeah. Right, so ambush turn. Delwyn, you have the highest initiative. What do you want to do?
Who again? Dalewyn has the highest initiative?
Yep.
Man, my level 1 characters are super broken, huh? All right, so yeah, so I'll shoot the leader. You know, like make him scatter.
Okay.
Make him cut the head off, right?
Yeah. So take your attack, add 2 for favoured terrain, though after ambush you won't get that bonus anymore, and roll
Sure.
equal to or under that on a d20.
Okay, so that would put me at 16. I'll sacrifice 3 of my defense to get a +1 to that. So that'll put me at a 16. And then what does favored weapon bows mean?
It should already be worked in somewhere. Let me just double
A lot
check.
of your later abilities won't work with anything but your favoured weapon.
Oh, okay. So like
things like your
shot or
increased
whatever.
rate of fire and armor piercing stuff comes up.
That comes later, yeah. Favored weapon.
They are brutal, by the way.
Yeah, because I don't think this class is in like
Doing
the
so gives no immediate bonus, but many of the high level skills depend on your favored weapon.
Great. Okay, let's do what I roll here. I roll 14, so I get it.
Okay, so right, you loose the arrow, it flies over. He can't react with his shield or anything else because it's an ambush. So the arrow strikes him. All right, armor penetration. Roll a d8 and tell me what you get.
D8 roll.
Yeah.
I got a 2.
Okay, that's unfortunately not enough to penetrate his armor. So you fire the arrow, and it sticks into his sort of harness and armor of bone and fur, and just kind of lodges in it. And he sort of starts and cries in surprise. Right. Madrock, you're up next.
Okay, now, had I already snuck into position, or
Yes,
do
you
I
had.
do? In that case, I'm going to wait until they're distracted by anything else.
Well, you've got an ambush at the moment, so they are kind of distracted.
Yeah, but it's not like I get shock attack or anything like that. I'm just.
I literally shouted now and then shot an arrow at their leader.
Yeah.
That's your problem.
So you're gonna stay hidden.
I'm really not a warrior. That's the thing. I'm not even an assassin type.
Throw a
No,
dagger.
I just want to delay until something else goes off.
Okay.
Really, draw their attention.
Right, Kerridan.
I am going to cast the spell Tangle Roots. It's a speed 14 spell. It expires on a roll of 20, and I'll try to. Yes, I'll throw Tangle Roots at the leader's been shot at with an arrow, so the fellow who is just to the immediate right of the leader.
Okay.
And I'll invoke the words of power and cast my hand forward and just cause all the jungle vinery and ferns and whatnot to weave into ropey strands and fronds and take one of them and pull him down to the ground to try and keep him there as our captive while the rest get dealt with.
So it's speed 14. It's an ambush, so he can't evade. So roll a 14 or under on a d20.
Okay. A 7.
Okay, so he's grabbed. Right, the jungle erupts into life, and tendrils and roots and vines whip out, wrap around one of them, and drag him down to the dirt.
Yeah, he's glad this isn't a manga game.
Yeah, or my other game. Right, Brother Abbas.
I will strike one with my sword.
Okay, so you come hurtling out of the underbrush with your sword. Who do you want to stab?
How many are there, did you say, sorry?
Well, one's cocooned in vines and roots now. There's the leader, and there's 4 others.
I'll go for the leader.
Sorry, 3 others, other than the entangled one. Going for the leader. Okay, so you come hurtling up at him. Roll equal to or under your attack to hit.
Missed just. Rolled a 16 instead of a 15.
Okay, so you slash out, but in his sort of reaction to the arrow, he's pulled himself just out of reach. Right, so we're out of ambush turns and into normal turns. I didn't miss anyone, did I? Don't think so. Oh, Madrock, you have a last chance to do something if you want to before we start the new turn.
The priest is going to get slaughtered. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try and stick the leader in the.
Okay. So you come up on the leader as well. Roll equal to or under your attack to strike.
Oh, okay. 9.
Yep. What's the armor penetration on that? Is it your magic sword?
Yeah, +2, so it's 3 minimum.
Okay, so that's going to go straight through his armor, so just roll the damage.
Nice. And 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay, so you come up on him while Abbas is also engaging with him and drive your blade into his side. It's difficult to carve through this harness they're wearing. It's remarkably tough for what it is, but you do manage to cut through him beneath, and hot blood spills over your sword. So, new turn. Dalewyn. The others are mobbing the leader. One of them has been dragged down to the earth by roots, and
Is there like penalties for shooting into like a melee or something?
if you
or
miss,
should
you
I-
might hit one of your friends.
Okay, let's not do that. We'll shoot at one of the guys that have shields and javelins, because they could like start throwing javelins at people. So I
Okay,
want to
so
like
you-
get
you-
their attention.
You shift your aim.
Yeah.
You don't get your +2 anymore, but roll equal to or under your attack to hit.
That's fine. So I'll just go with the stand. Well, if they throw a javelin, the defense is meaningless, right? Because
Yeah.
it just goes straight through or whatever. So I'll drop, and they're not in like melee range. They can't like run up to me and attack me, right?
I'm taking it that you're a bit further back than the others who had to be in melee range to reach them this turn. So yeah, it would take them a couple of turns to reach you if they can figure out where you are.
I'll drop both. I'll drop 6 defense for an extra 2 to hit. So I'll be at 16 again.
Okay,
And then I'll roll, and I got a 3, so that's
so
good.
that's a hit. Roll a d8 for armor penetration.
D8. I get a 6.
Okay, he tries to raise his shield, but the arrow slips past it. And roll a d8 for damage.
Okay, if you guys roll for damage in this.
Yeah,
8 damage.
8.
To just
Nice.
blast him.
Right, so yeah, the arrow goes above the edge of his shield and hits him right through the chest. And he wheezes and drops down to one side, but is still standing at the moment with the arrow protruding from his chest.
She'll yell like, "Take that, you blighters!" and then like the other side of the bush to shoot at another one. So like, move on to that person.
Okay, Madrock, you've drawn blood. Finish him.
Yeah, well, I'm committed now, aren't I? Pouring it on. Of course, panic sets in.
Not much of a fighter, but has a magic sword that penetrates armor immedially. You know?
Yeah, if I hit. And
Yeah.
that's really rare.
Yeah, so he's turned to face you both now. So he's got 4 defense against you.
Go, I'll miss it. I'll roll over my attack anyway.
Okay. So yeah, you swing at him. He brings up his axe haft and just sort of swats your blow out of the way,
He didn't need to bother.
and then brings his axe around and swings it down at you. What's your defense?
Fall to the floor, saying, please don't hit me, please don't hit me. 7.
Okay. Right. It's a big, heavy weapon. You have plenty of time to move out the way, and the blade just was thunk into the earth where you just were.
You know I'm going to roll with that, don't you?
Yes. The guy who's entangled struggles against his bonds, but doesn't manage to get free. One of the spearmen moves into cover. There is a twang noise as the bow trap goes off. And he seems to be hit by it. And that's the guy who was already hit by the arrow. So he's now got 2 arrows sticking out of him and is sort of rolling into cover weakly behind one of these tree trunks. Another guy tries to move into cover. There is a thwap sound, and he is yoinked up into the air. Did you set a 3rd trap? I don't remember.
I said all 3, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you didn't tell me what the 3rd trap was, though.
Oh, they're all going to be snare traps behind like cover.
Okay. Well, I made the first one a bow trap, so we'll just let that one be as it was. Okay. The last guy is, they all scatter for cover. He notices the snare and steps around it. Can't really engage with anyone. He's trying to spot you. What's Delwyn's stealth?
Delwyn's stealth is 17.
Okay. He lays eyes on you and hurls one of his javelins at you.
Okay.
You've got some cover, so we'll factor that in. Okay, so he hurls the first one of his javelins and it hits into the tree trunk next to you. And shatters to pieces.
Nice.
So he's not going to be able to reuse that. Assuming they survive, which they probably won't. Okay.
What's the roll to see if your like ammo explodes on target? Like,
it's basically got a 1 in 6 chance normally to see whether it shatters.
Okay, 1 in 6 to have a shatter.
Yeah. Okay, that's all of them. Carradine's turn.
I will. I will cast Tangle Roots again and engulf another one of our foes.
Okay.
I don't know if that will release the first one though. I believe it's an expiry spell.
Yeah, I think so.
Expires on a roll of 20. Okay. So yeah, I'll try that again. That's another 2 magic points, and it's 14 or less modified.
Minus his evasion, which is 4, so 10 or under.
All right. Oh, here goes. 1.
Which one do you want to go for? The wounded one with the arrows sticking out of him, or the one who just hurled a javelin?
Javelin hurler.
Or the leader?
Javelin hurler.
Okay. Right. Vines reach down from the tree above him as he prepares his second javelin and sort of wrap around him and hoist him into the air. Right. Abbas, you're currently engaged with the leader.
I will try and land a blow on him this time.
Okay, take 5 away from your attack and roll.
So under 10. Yes, I got a 1.
A 1. Nice. So that's critical hit, straight through armor, double damage.
So what is... Just a second. $14 damage.
14. Christ.
Jesus.
Well,
He's
it's 2d8 plus
Yeah.
2 per roll, isn't it?
Yeah. He's left completely open after swinging with his axe down at Madrock. So you just sort of follow the line of the axe up and lop his head clean off his shoulders with one blow. There's a fountain of blood from the stump and the body slides down the axe to the ground. Right. New turn. Delwyn's go.
All right. She will try and pick out that guy that threw a javelin at her.
He's currently hoisted into the air by vines.
Oh. Well then, we'll shoot him again. Shoot him again.
Okay. Kind of. Yeah. He's kind of helpless.
Okay. Let's shoot the one that's in my snare trap because he could probably cut his way out. I don't know if you can cut your way out of magical vines or whatever.
You can if you've got an appropriate weapon or something, which they don't. But yeah, he might be able to get free. So yeah.
Yeah, so
Right, he can't defend himself, so just roll equal to or under your attack.
Okay, so again, I'll drop some of my defense for some extra attack, and then I'll roll, and I roll the 1.
Yes, that's a crit, so it's double damage.
Great. So is it double the dice roll, or is it
Yeah,
two dice
roll
roll?
d8 twice.
Okay,
Add them together.
2d8 roll. 6 total damage.
We've used up all our ones. It's not a good sign. It's really not a good sign.
Hey, that means I'm due one now. Yay!
What are the odds going to be if that comes up next? Eh?
1 in 20.
Never tell a game the odds.
Done. Did it. We figured it out.
Right.
Yeah. So as I said, it was 6 damage.
Yeah, so you loose the arrow, and it strikes him and sort of knocks him swaying in the snare, and the arrow's sticking out of him sort of just above his belly. But he
Yeah.
still
So
seems
she'll keep throwing like insults their direction and be like, "You like that? We'll send another."
Pointed arrows and pointed remarks. Madrock, you're currently...
She sends them both every turn. Go ahead.
Just been shouting claret.
Yes.
Well,
And...
enough the cunning move I was going to do, but
So there's 3 of them up in the air, and there's one wounded one behind a log nearby.
going to go over. I will give him the chance to swing.
Okay.
I'll try the trading language and just indicate more with pointing rather than anything.
Okay. Roll a d20 equal to or under your looks.
Bang on.
Okay. He's the first one to have had a chance to get a real proper look at you. And when he does, you see a sort of look of shock on his face. And despite his wounds, he prostrates himself on the ground in front of you. Head down, arms outstretched. Chanting.
Great news, guys. They've heard of me.
Right, so combat's over, because they're going to be entangled or snared for at least the next 5 minutes or so. So it's really up to you how you want to deal with them now.
We should probably trust them beyond the animation of the foliage around them. So while they're still bound in the spells, we can just trust them up properly with mundane knotted bonds.
Yeah.
The one I shot is probably going to die in the future, right? I could just cut his throat open.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll do. I'll just like get up behind him and just like.
Okay.
Bonus to intimidation for the others, certainly. Okay, but the others you can
then
surround.
Rip my arrow out of his chest, right? Like,
Yeah. It's still intact. It's still usable.
clean it off, you know.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
look for the one that bounced off their leader earlier.
So you've got 1, 2, 3 prisoners.
This one that prostrated himself. Can I get an inkling what that's all about?
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure he hasn't actually heard.
1 second. Sorry, this is going to take me a sec to find the right bit. Okay, so what are you asking him exactly?
So you've seen others of our kind.
Yes. Others sent by Ixtab.
And what's an Ixtab?
Do not mock this poor servant.
Leave that as it. That wasn't the name of the spider god that the shaman.
No, you think these people have their own gods?
You know, the birdmen are very angry with you.
The Volocreth?
Yeah, fine, if he wants to use a big word for it.
They are animals, monsters.
Monsters that are very annoying.
Do you wish us to seek them out and kill them?
No, I just thought you should. So,
You have defeated us in battle. We're shamed to have fought you. We did not see what you were.
see, stealth rolls. Brilliant. Okay. I'm going to take you to our shaman now. There's questions you will answer.
Yes.
And I'll lead him over to the sorceress.
Were you speaking? What language were you speaking with them? Was it mind speak or
The trade tongue.
the trade tongue? Okay, so
If you don't speak, I will translate for you.
if I am able to suss out that they're being brought over, I'd like to be standing so that I could make a slow turn, and I'm going to use an illusion spell to change my countenance into one of, intimidating fury and like haughty, like Angelina Jolie style, just haughty cheeks and just the presence of someone fully imbued with the power of the gods and whatnot.
And they shall love
You're
me and
spending
despair, sort of thing.
Expending
Yes.
magic, put some slap on.
That's another. Well, that's an illusion spell.
I'm only jealous.
1, 2, 3.
Homer's makeup shotgun. Okay, he grovels before you. He's still got these 2 arrows sticking out of him. Ixtab, I am sorry. Did not know it was you. And then he gabbles away what you take to be the Tokal language, which sounds similar to Kaikahurun, which I don't think any of you speak anyway, so that's no help.
No. Does
So-
Mistress speak it?
I think we said she didn't. She spoke Amphidian and Celentine, but not Kaikahurun.
Okay. So the wounds, if his 2 arrows were removed, how much would he need to be healed? I can heal him with magic and then cement the deal.
Yeah, he's at 2 hit points out of 12, so but any healing would help and be seen as miraculous.
Okay, so then I will say in Ellis Landic, all right, I'm going to have you authoritatively, but with some mercy still showing in your faces, hold him down as if, we're going to take his life. And then I will pause and hold my hand up and instead indicate his 2 arrows to be removed. And then I'm going to heal him. And hopefully that will command his full attention and groveling loyalty and whatnot. We still have to find a way, however, to speak with him. So you will have to translate. And when you do translate, tell him that he must earn the right to hear me speak to him as a proper servant. And for now, you will be my intermediary because I wish it so.
Yeah, well, the guides can speak his language a bit, so
Okay.
you can talk through them, and that's that's fitting.
I'm going to glare at him if I pick those 2 arrows up off the back of my quiver.
So a greater healing would restore a lot of his.
Yeah.
Let me just check the rank and the magic.
What does that look like? What does that look like to push the arrows back out of him?
Yeah, I guess.
What
it looks.
what does the magic look like in this
Well, usually there's incantations and gestures. So there would be that first, and then Keridon would take hold of the arrow and lay a hand on the wound, and then as she pulled the arrow out, Like a magical glow would infuse the wound and close it up as the arrow came out.
Cool. Into it.
Kind of like almost people who do psychic surgery and so on. You just hold your hand over, you hide what's going on.
Yeah. Except in this case, the magic's real.
There you go. You got him.
Yeah.
If you can, then tell him that.
Goddess, I am unworthy of your mercy.
Tell him to use the gift of renewed life appropriately to honor all young children and needful things.
I will murder many of them in your name, doomed woman.
Shit.
I slew 2 of the unbelievers at the city in your name. Did their cries of pain please you, mistress?
Tell him that I am well pleased, but that I am going to punish him and forbid him from any further slaughter until I come to him in a dream and explicitly give him permission to resume such an honor.
I'm sorry, Goddess. I will do anything to please you.
There are those who tread upon my former abode. Many centuries past I dwelt there. They dishonor its halls. They make me displeased with their filthy presence. They have not honored me rightly.
We sought to honor you there. We slew our neighbors who turned on those you sent, like the others here. We slew them and we escaped, and we set up our home at your temple.
And those who claim to speak with me in dreams and in times of great stress, they told you these were my wishes?
Yes, Tolkesh told us this was so.
Tolkesh has trespassed against...
Tolkesh and Teteli.
They are both trespassers. They have befouled my temple. They condemn all of you and your heirs to an eternity of suffering, lest you set things right.
Ixtab, we did not mean to. We did not know. We have always sought to act as you wished. But if we have transgressed, it has brought you to us, and that is a blessing. Let me take you there.
I'll cross my arms across my chest and stand rather regally.
I'm going to whisper, or in our language, break one. It might be an idea to tone it down a bit.
I will, thank you.
If anything, the priests would be at fault, not these guys.
That's why I said their priests have led them astray and they've trespassed. What name did the one who bore you give?
Oh, damn you, naming NPCs.
Got CDO about these things. It's like OCD, but in alphabetical fucking order.
Fortunately, the
He
internet...
called her mum.
Fortunately, the internet has many random name generators. No, it's not going to be Tupac. Oh, why not? She named...
3-pack! Call him 3-pack!
She named me Tupac. Goddess.
Do you wish my favor, Tupac?
I do.
You will gather those who you trust, and then you will convince more that my power flows into you, and you will bring me the 2 transgressors.
I and my brothers in arms here will bring them to you. Where should we bring them? Here?
Yes, I should like to see them abase themselves here, where those they led astray fell to me.
Right. So if you're going to let them go, they will then go back to their settlement and hopefully gather their leaders.
Go ahead.
I try to read the others, see if they look as convinced as this first.
He's 100%
So,
convinced.
so-
They're like 95% convinced after the show of magic and the illusory goings on.
And that's pretty good.
Is it okay if we go ahead with this, or should I just suddenly, quixotically and deifically change my mind and tell them to head back, and then we have a trail to track them flawlessly with?
Or you could have them escort you in, or you've got a lot of options here.
So that's what I figured I would go with, but what do you guys want to do? I don't want to just steamroll that decision past everyone. I was kind of caught up in the moment. Any ideas? Any objections or alternate ideas?
Sounds good.
Okay.
No, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I would like if we had more support. So, yeah.
Okay. I think then the best thing for us to do is, once they're very clear and well out of range, maybe set up a second ambush site a little further up the path, because they're going to expect to meet us here. I said I want them brought here, right, to base themselves where we slew their men. So if we hit them a little earlier on, they'll be ready to come up to the spot, and then we can get them.
There's
Right.
no way they're coming back here. Those people are probably going to get murdered by the moment they get back to town.
Okay.
Not if they're only talking to people of a similar. I think it would be if they let slip to the priests. That's when
You just
fall
sent
down.
those men to their deaths.
Well, it keeps your hands clean. So.
Well, I'm sorry for throwing that kind of a curveball at the DM because I don't know.
It's fine. Okay, I want to finish a little early because I had to stay up super late last night. So we'll just do this next scene and then we'll wrap till Tuesday. Okay, so yeah, you can set everything up again and get yourselves in, good positions. And then after a couple of hours, you hear a great hubbub in the jungle and the sounds of many, many people walking.
Yeah. This is when we take off.
We might have to, actually. I'm afraid of what's coming now.
Just remember, the line is, you don't need us, you don't need anybody.
Yes, we're all individuals. Well, you're going to need to have to make a decision quick.
Well, guys, are we
Oh,
gonna...
Dalewen's out of here. The moment she hears that there's like an army coming, like we can't fight an army.
I'll shimmy up a tree, see if I can get
Like,
an
we
idea.
need to go back
what
to
they
the.
are.
We need to go back to the village, like refigure out what we're doing with all the new information that we got, and then go out again.
Well, you got time for Madrock to shimmy up a tree and have a butcher's. But to do it quickly, I'm going to have Madrock make a reflexes roll with your bonus to climb.
Here comes the 20.
Oh, no.
Well, if speed is of the essence, I might use my jump as well to maybe sort
Yep.
of jump up part one tree onto another or something.
Yeah.
That way, the imminent failure is far more spectacular. Oh, hang on, no, made it. 12.
Okay.
Only
So-
made it by one, but
Right, you leap up into a branch, almost fall, windmill your arms, grab hold of another one, haul yourself up a bit further. From up here, you can see a reasonable distance, and yeah, there's a great big crowd of people, maybe a couple of hundred. There's not only there's sort of plumed and armed guards, but there's one man dressed very regally, and another one dressed like a living skeleton, and a whole bunch of women and children and young people all running along with them. And the people you captured and let go are leading them and sort of pointing ahead and calling.
okay. So on the bad side, there is a priest with them. That's going to be the problem. I think your new name is going to be Misa.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. I thought they were going to bring them.
How confident are you in your illusion abilities, John?
No, I don't think this is a scale I was expecting. I thought it was going to be this fellow, Tupac, and just a few of his mates, and like, oh, I saw the goddess. She's commanded me to bring them these false leaders, and I think they'd be brought here, trussied up and ready. But no, we should probably book it. How long will
Actually,
that
this
illusion?
would be the perfect time to head to the pyramid while they're all running around in the jungle.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. We should probably make a beeline for the way they came. So yeah, let's cut into the wood and stealth it. But should I throw up an illusion for them to be distracted by? It will last for a little bit. So what would be a good illusion to throw up?
You in your terrible aspect making some kind of long-winded speech for 5 minutes, which is about how long the illusion will last.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so you've got a bit of warning of them coming, so you can sort of head off at a tangent and cut around and hopefully, get around behind them while they're busy searching the woods where you were and investigating and listening to the illusion of their goddess. And we'll pick up next time as you approach the village.
Great.
Sadly, I won't be there, of course, because Tuesdays.
Yeah. But
time after.
Hopefully, you guys won't be dead by next Saturday.
Hope not.
Hopefully. Hope that was all right.
Lost in the jungle,
Yeah. Hope that was all right for you, Cam.
That was super fun.
I know it's a low-level character, and trying to fit in with a group can be
What
tricky.
are you talking about? This character was like godly.
I'll level up the characters and sort out the stuff between sessions.
There's only one small thing that's wrong with the character sheet, I think.
What's that?
Under stillness, it says gain 2 points in stealth for each point of defense. I think it's supposed to be 1 point in stealth for each 2 points of defense.
I will double check.
One in favored terrain.
Yeah,
so I think it's the perks of what it should be.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check that. All right.
Cool.
That's gonna be it for tonight then.
Guys, right.
See you guys on Tuesday.
Good night, everyone.